Good morning, Dubai. It's a strange situation that many of us find ourselves in this morning. Teachers have woken up to empty classrooms and parents have become homeschool teachers pretty much overnight. At Insights, our team in the last 24 hours have been putting together our top tips for parents that are about to become teachers, with a little help from some of the best inclusion specialists in the UAE. Here comes the cheat sheet.
Before you start a lesson, set out the aims for that lesson. Tell the students where you aim to get to by the end of that lesson so that everybody knows where that lesson starts and stops. Also, in situations that are a little challenging or difficult, or perhaps a student gets a little frustrated, rather than confronting that and being in conflict, acknowledge the feeling that you're seeing, saying, I can see you feeling frustrated, I can see you're a little bit irritated, and give choices. Say, why don't you rather do this or rather do that? That way they've gotten out and you feel calm and in control, conflicts avoided.
Okay, a quick little idea that you can use to make sure that your children are focused and listening whenever you're given instructions is something like, when the instruction has been given, say to the child that you're going to have a buzzword. You decide what that buzzword might be. And when they hear the buzzword, when you're giving out the instructions, you'll give them some sort of reward, be that a sticker or a house point or a smiley face. So for example, you might say your buzzword is fantastic. So the instruction could be, I hope that we're going to do fantastic work today. I know that you're going to give it a fantastic effort. So every time they hear it, they can give you a little hand signal. So it could be a click of their fingers, it could be a clap of their hands, it could be a thumbs up, or it could be a high five. And then you know that the children are listening to what you're saying. Good motivation, and the kids then are really engaged.
Hi everyone, my top tip for this period of distance learning is to structure your day. When you first start work in the morning, make sure you look at your timetable, get your books into the right order, and make sure you know which lessons you have to log into at which times. Follow the daily schedule, make sure you get your breaks, make sure you get your lunch. Make sure you get your movement breaks if you're feeling fidgety. There's no reason why you can't stand up and work. Go and work at a different place, move around the home. Structure and routine is what's going to get you through. One step at a time, one lesson at a time. The days will pass quickly.
I think it's really important to respect each child's saturation point. If you notice they're becoming tired, allow them to take a break. Movement breaks are fantastic because they re-alert the brain. And especially gross motor movement breaks, like skipping a rope or star jumps or jumping up and down, can really reinvigorate and re-energize the child.
Hello everyone. So more tips on how to keep your children engaged while learning at home is to start the lesson with activating previous knowledge. So what have you learned about this topic? For example, addition. What have you learned before in math? What do you know about it? This will allow you to understand and tap into their previous knowledge and refresh it, because things like mathematics, for example, always builds on previous knowledge. So always start your lesson with previous knowledge and reviewing the basic concepts. Second tip is to give them rewards. So you can have a visual schedule for how the lesson is going to go, and then reward the child after each step. So rewards can be stars, they can be stickers, anything that is developmentally appropriate. And for example, if the child gets 5 stars, then he gets time on his PlayStation or time outside on their bike. Rewards keep the children motivated and keeps the lesson fun. Also, you can connect them during free play time or peer time. You can connect them to their friends and peers to keep them connected and to keep their day fun and active. Happy learning!
There are many ways a parent can support their their child who has an identified need of dyslexia. By creating an era of independence within the child to make sure that they can access their online learning independently with as little support as possible. The way in which we can support that is by giving them access to apps such as Claro ScanPen, which is a text reader, as well as Claro PDF, which is a way in which we can write on documents, which can read and which can draw for us, as well as keyboarding skills, making sure that our children have effective keyboarding skills, that they can put their information down quickly as possible, and that the handwriting is not a barrier for them. Also make sure that we are giving our children information in digestible chunks. Don't give too much information all at once, otherwise children can become very overwhelmed. Also make sure that we include fun activities with regards to a multi-sensory approach, such as when we teach spelling, when we are introducing new work to your child at home, make sure that they don't always stay stuck to the screen. Make sure that they get outside, practice their spellings in the sand, practice their spellings, for example, chalk on the sidewalk, ways in which we can step away from the screen as well as have a break from the digital world, and make sure that we incorporate something tangible, something three-dimensional that they can get their hands on.
Some concepts can be really abstract for children to get their heads around. So in order to help them to better understand what you're trying to explain to them, think of it in two ways. The first is, what concrete materials can I bring to help them? Things like Numicon or Deans or 100 Square might be the things that we use in school, but you could just as easily think about buttons or toy cars to help with counting, Lego bricks and so on. And the 100 Squares and number lines are very easily available from a Google and a download. The other thing to think about is to try and help them to put a real world context around. So, for example, scientific concept of changing states is easily tied to a baking recipe. Here are the ingredients and here's the end product. What happened to them? Similarly, the passing of time, you could look at train timetables, bus timetables, all very easy to find on the internet. Also, budgets and money could be associated with the till receipt that you have from Spinneys. How much do I spend if I buy 3 lots of? Or things like the takeout menu is a great one. Here's the budget that we've got to buy this evening's takeout. What are we going to buy? Yes, so think about how you move abstract concepts by helping them with concrete materials and by giving them real world examples.
Managing anxiety is a real challenge for most, and it's no different for children. It's very important for us to maintain a structured and consistent environment for children in order to minimize the behaviors that are often associated with anxiety. One of my recommendations is using a whiteboard, magnetic whiteboard, outlining sequentially what the expectations are for the child daily. This can be supported in the morning with the child, where you and the child sit down and identify what you will be accomplishing for the day.
Often, children who've got language difficulties might look like they're zoning out in the classroom, or they may not answer questions correctly, or they might seem like they aren't following instructions. However, that might be because they haven't understood the question or the instruction, or maybe they haven't got the words or vocabulary to respond to questions. You might see this at home also, so things that you can do to help are breaking down instructions, or paraphrasing or summarizing what is being asked of them. You might ask the child themselves to repeat the instruction to make sure they've heard it and processed it correctly. You might want to introduce new vocabulary or concepts by using pictures or real-life objects, so it's more concrete for them, and also assuring them it's okay that there sometimes is communication breakdowns, and that it's okay to ask for help or for a repetition of any instruction or question.
That's all from us for now. If you are a teacher that has a fabulous tip for a parent that you'd like to share, please video it and send it on. We'll share it across our social media channels this week and in the coming weeks. If you are a parent that has a very specific question about your child's education, you'd like to ask one of our team, or maybe you'd like us to pass it to one of the inclusion specialists, please feel free to get in touch. For everybody, stay at home where possible, stay safe, keep washing those hands. Lots of love from the Insights team.